In 1922, archaeologists opened a tomb hidden beneath the sands of Egypt. Inside, they found gold beyond imagination. Golden statues, golden chariots, golden jewelry, and at the center of it all, a golden mask that would become one of the most famous artifacts in human history. But that wasn't what terrified people, because shortly after the tomb was opened, strange death began occurring. Newspapers around the world claimed an ancient curse had been unleashed, a curse written thousands of years earlier, the curse of Tutankhamun. But was the curse real, or was something even more mysterious happening? Tonight, we uncover the incredible story of Egypt's most famous pharaoh, the boy king, Tutankhamun. More than 3,300 years ago, ancient Egypt was facing crisis. A powerful pharaoh named Akhenaten had transformed Egyptian religion. For centuries, Egyptians worshipped many gods. But Akhenaten attempted something revolutionary. He promoted the worship of a single deity known as Aten. Temples dedicated to traditional gods were closed. Ancient rituals were abandoned. Priests lost power. The changes shocked the kingdom. When Akhenaten died, Egypt was deeply divided. The royal family faced uncertainty, and it was during this turbulent period that a young prince rose to the throne. His name was Tutankhamun. He was probably no older than 8 or 9 years old. A child, far too young to rule alone. Powerful advisors governed on his behalf. Yet despite his age, his reign would become one of the most famous in history. Soon after becoming king, a dramatic decision was made. The old gods would return. Traditional temples reopened. Ancient religious practices were restored. And the young king even changed his name, from Tutankhaten, meaning living image of Aten, to Tutankhamun, meaning living image of Amun. The change symbolized Egypt's return to its traditional beliefs. For the people, it represented stability, a chance to heal after years of religious conflict. Although Tutankhamun ruled for nearly a decade, historians know surprisingly little about his achievements. Unlike great conquerors such as Ramses II, he did not lead massive military campaigns. Unlike builders such as Khufu, he did not construct giant pyramids. He was a relatively minor king, or so it seemed. Then tragedy struck. Around the age of 19, Tutankhamun died suddenly. The cause remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Some researchers believe illness killed him. Others suspect genetic disorders. Still others suggest an accident. Scans of his mummy have revealed numerous health problems, evidence of physical disabilities, possible infections, and signs of a difficult life. Yet no single explanation has solved the mystery completely. The boy king was dead. His reign had ended almost before it began. Normally, this might have made him a forgotten ruler, one name among hundreds of Egyptian kings. But fate had other plans. Following his death, Tutankhamun was buried in the Valley of the Kings, a remote desert valley where many pharaohs were laid to rest. His tomb was relatively small, much smaller than those of Egypt's greatest rulers. Perhaps because his death came unexpectedly. Perhaps because there wasn't enough time to build a larger monument. Whatever the reason, the tomb was sealed, hidden beneath layers of rock and sand. And then something remarkable happened. History forgot him. Over the centuries, the location of his tomb disappeared from memory. New tombs were built nearby. Workers' huts covered parts of the entrance. The desert gradually concealed everything. While many royal tombs were looted by grave robbers, Tutankhamun's remained largely untouched. For more than 3,000 years, his treasures waited in darkness, waiting for someone to find them. That someone would eventually be a British archaeologist named Howard Carter, a man who spent years searching for a lost king many believed did not exist. His discovery would become one of the greatest archaeological finds ever made. But it would also give birth to a legend that still fascinates the world today. The legend of the Pharaoh's curse. November 1922. The scorching Egyptian sun beat down on the Valley of the Kings. Years of searching had produced almost nothing. Money was running out. Hope was fading. Many experts believed the search was over. But beneath the feet of the workers lay a secret hidden for more than 3,000 years. A secret that would soon become the greatest archaeological discovery in history. And when the tomb was finally opened, the world would never be the same again. By the early 1900s, archaeologists believed they had discovered nearly every royal tomb in the Valley of the Kings. The area had been explored extensively. Dozens of pharaohs had already been identified. Many experts concluded that nothing important remained hidden. But one man disagreed. His name was Howard Carter. For years, Carter was convinced that the tomb of Tutankhamun still existed somewhere beneath the desert. Most scholars considered the young king insignificant. His reign had been short. His accomplishments were limited. Many assumed grave robbers had emptied his tomb centuries earlier. Yet Carter remained determined. He believed clues found on ancient artifacts pointed toward a lost burial site, a tomb no one had ever found. Fortunately, Carter had financial support from Lord Carnarvon. Together, they launched one of archaeologists' most ambitious searches. Year after year, workers removed tons of rock and debris. Season after season passed with little success. The search became expensive, frustrating, and increasingly hopeless. Eventually, Lord Carnarvon decided he could no longer continue funding the project. He agreed to finance just one final season. One last chance. If nothing was found, the search would end forever. Then, on November 4th, 1922, everything changed. A worker discovered a stone step beneath the sand. At first, it seemed insignificant. But as more sand was removed, additional steps appeared. The staircase descended deeper into the earth. Carter immediately knew this could be something extraordinary. The excavation continued. Soon, the team uncovered a sealed doorway, stamped with royal symbols. Symbols associated with Tutankhamun. The lost king had finally been found. Excitement spread rapidly. Carter sent an urgent message to Lord Carnarvon. The famous telegram reportedly read, "At last I've made wonderful discovery in Valley." Weeks later, Carnarvon arrived in Egypt. The moment of truth had come. The sealed entrance was carefully opened. Behind it lay a passage filled with rubble. The corridor led to another doorway. This one also sealed. This one untouched for centuries. As Carter prepared to look inside, history stood still. He carefully made a small hole in the doorway. Then he inserted a candle. For a moment, he said nothing. Lord Carnarvon grew impatient. "Can you see anything?" Carter's answer would become legendary. "Yes, wonderful things." Inside the chamber stood treasures unlike anything the modern world had ever seen. Golden couches, decorated chariots, jewelry, weapons, statues, furniture. Everywhere Carter looked, priceless objects filled the room. It was as if time itself had stopped. The tomb appeared almost untouched. For archaeologists, it was a dream. Most royal tombs had been looted long ago, their treasures stolen, their secrets lost. Tutankhamun's tomb was different. It contained more than 5,000 artifacts, each offering a glimpse into ancient Egypt at the height of its power. As researchers moved deeper into the tomb, they discovered additional chambers. Then came the burial chamber itself. Inside stood a massive golden shrine. Inside that shrine was another, and another, and another. 4 enormous shrines nested inside one another like sacred boxes. At the center rested a stone sarcophagus. Within the sarcophagus were 3 coffins. The innermost coffin was made of solid gold, and inside that coffin lay the mummy of Tutankhamun, still resting where priests had placed him more than 3,000 years earlier. Then archaeologists uncovered the artifact that would become an icon of ancient Egypt, the golden death mask, crafted with breathtaking precision, decorated with precious stones. Its serene face seemed almost alive. Today, it remains one of the most recognizable objects in human history. The discovery captured global attention. Newspapers around the world published dramatic headlines. Millions followed the story. Tutankhamun became an international sensation. The forgotten boy king was now the most famous pharaoh on earth. But amid the excitement, strange rumors began to spread. Stories of mysterious warnings, ancient curses, and unexplained deaths. Then tragedy struck. Only months after entering the tomb, Lord Carnarvon suddenly died. The newspapers exploded with speculation. Had the pharaoh taken revenge? Had an ancient curse been awakened? The legend of the curse of Tutankhamun had begun. What if opening a tomb sealed for 3,000 years unleashed something ancient, something deadly, something that refused to remain buried? Soon after Tutankhamun's tomb was opened, strange death began making headlines around the world. Newspapers claimed an ancient curse had awakened, a curse placed by Egyptian priests to protect the boy king's eternal rest. People became terrified. Archaeologists became cautious. and the legend of the Pharaoh's curse was born. But was it real? Or was the truth even stranger? The first death occurred only months after the discovery. Lord Carnarvon, the wealthy sponsor who financed Howard Carter's excavation, suddenly became ill. At first, the illness seemed minor. A mosquito bite on his cheek had become infected after he accidentally cut it while shaving. But the infection worsened rapidly. Soon, Carnarvon developed severe blood poisoning. Despite medical treatment, his condition deteriorated. On April 5, 1923, he died in Cairo. Almost immediately, rumors began spreading. The timing seemed suspicious. The man who helped open the tomb was dead, and journalists were eager for a dramatic story. Then came an eerie coincidence. According to newspaper reports, lights across Cairo briefly went out at the exact moment of Carnarvon's death. Even stranger, stories emerged claiming Carnarvon's dog in England howled and died at the same time. Whether these stories were true or exaggerated hardly mattered. The public was fascinated. The curse had become front-page news. Soon, reporters began searching for evidence inside the tomb itself. They claimed to have found warnings carved into ancient artifacts, warnings that supposedly threatened anyone who disturbed the pharaoh's rest. One popular version read, "Death shall come on swift wings to him who disturbs a king." The quote appeared everywhere. Books, newspapers, magazines. The legend grew larger with every retelling. Yet there was one problem. Archaeologists could not actually find such an inscription inside Tutankhamun's tomb. The famous warning may have been completely invented, but by then, the curse story had taken on a life of its own. As years passed, additional deaths fueled public fears. Several individuals connected to the excavation died under unusual circumstances. Each death generated new headlines. Each headline strengthened belief in the curse. People began compiling lists of victims. Some claimed dozens had perished. Others insisted the number was much higher. To believers, the evidence seemed overwhelming. How could so many deaths be a coincidence? Yet many scientists remained skeptical. After all, people died naturally, especially during an era when medical treatments were limited. Many of those linked to the excavation were already older adults. Some died years after the tomb's discovery. Others had little direct involvement with the excavation itself. When researchers carefully examined the facts, the curse appeared far less convincing. Then came one of the most important observations of all. Howard Carter himself never fell victim to the curse. The man who spent years excavating the tomb. The man who entered the chambers. The man who handled countless artifacts. He lived for another 17 years. Carter died in 1939 at the age of 64 from natural causes. Not exactly the fate expected from an ancient supernatural curse. Other members of the excavation team also lived long lives. Many survived for decades after the discovery. This created a serious problem for curse believers. If the curse was real, why did it spare so many of the people most directly involved? Some researchers propose a more scientific explanation. Ancient tombs remained sealed for centuries. Inside, bacteria, fungi, and toxic mold can accumulate. When tombs are opened, these microorganisms may become airborne. In rare cases, exposure could potentially cause illness. While this theory explains some health concerns, it does not account for every reported death. And so the mystery continues. But perhaps the greatest reason the curse became famous had nothing to do with science or magic. It was timing. The 1920s were an age of fascination with the supernatural. People loved stories of ghosts, curses, and ancient secrets. Tutankhamun's tomb provided the perfect mystery. A lost king, a hidden treasure, a forgotten civilization, and a series of unexplained deaths. The ingredients were irresistible. Hollywood embraced the legend. Books explored it. Documentaries debated it. Even today, millions of people remain fascinated by the possibility that an ancient curse protected the boy king's tomb. Yet while the curse captured public imagination, archaeologists were focused on something else entirely: the treasures, the artifacts, and the secrets hidden within the burial chamber itself. Because the objects surrounding Tutankhamun's mummy were revealing extraordinary information about ancient Egypt, information that historians had never seen before. Behind the sealed doors of Tutankhamun's tomb lay a world frozen in time. For more than 3,000 years, no human eyes had seen what rested inside. Then, in 1922, the darkness was broken. As Howard Carter's candle illuminated the chamber, gold flashed from every direction. Statues stood silently in the shadows. Ancient treasures filled every corner. And what archaeologists discovered would become the most spectacular collection of royal artifacts ever found. When Howard Carter first entered the tomb, he realized something extraordinary had happened. Unlike most royal burials, Tutankhamun's tomb had escaped large-scale looting. For centuries, grave robbers had plundered the Valley of the Kings. Gold was stolen, jewels disappeared, mummies were disturbed, but somehow the boy king's treasures remained largely intact. The result was one of the greatest archaeological discoveries in human history. The tomb contained more than 5,000 individual objects. Every item offered a glimpse into the life and beliefs of ancient Egypt. Golden beds shaped like sacred animals, decorated chariots, ceremonial weapons, jewelry crafted with incredible precision. Even simple everyday objects accompanied the king into eternity. To the Egyptians, the afterlife was not an ending. It was a continuation of life itself. Everything the king might need was provided: food, furniture, clothing, weapons, games, and treasures beyond imagination. Among the most remarkable discoveries were Tutankhamun's chariots. Several were found carefully disassembled and placed inside the tomb. These vehicles demonstrated the advanced craftsmanship of Egyptian artisans. Lightweight yet strong, they were masterpieces of ancient engineering. Some may have been used in ceremonies. Others perhaps accompanied the king during hunts or military displays. Then archaeologists uncovered magnificent jewelry, necklaces adorned with precious stones, bracelets made from gold and glass, rings decorated with royal symbols. Each piece revealed extraordinary artistic skill. The level of detail amazed experts. Many items looked as if they had been crafted only yesterday, yet they were over 3,000 years old. Another stunning discovery involved the statues guarding the burial chamber. These life-size figures stood watch over the king's resting place, dressed in gold and black, silent guardians protecting the pharaoh for eternity. Even today, their appearance remains both beautiful and intimidating. But the greatest treasure still awaited. Deep inside the burial chamber stood 4 massive gilded shrines. Each shrine surrounded the next like protective layers. Removing them took months of careful work. Inside rested a stone sarcophagus. Within the sarcophagus were 3 coffins nested together. The outer coffins were richly decorated, but the innermost coffin stunned everyone. It was crafted from solid gold, weighing more than 100 kilograms. Its craftsmanship was extraordinary, and inside that golden coffin lay Tutankhamun himself, still wrapped in linen after more than 3,000 years. Then came the discovery that would become the symbol of ancient Egypt, the golden death mask, placed directly over the king's head and shoulders, made from solid gold and inlaid with precious stones. The mask captured the youthful face of the boy king with astonishing beauty. Its blue stripes, its royal cobra, its serene expression, everything about it seemed timeless. The moment it was revealed, it became one of the most famous artifacts ever discovered. Today, millions recognize it instantly, yet the treasures revealed more than wealth. They revealed beliefs. Ancient Egyptians invested enormous resources into preparing for the afterlife. The tomb reflected their conviction that death was only a transition, a journey requiring protection, knowledge, and material support. Many objects carried magical significance: protective amulets, sacred symbols, religious texts, each designed to help the king navigate the dangers of the underworld. Some artifacts featured images of gods such as Osiris, Anubis, and Horus. These divine figures were believed to guide and protect the deceased. The tomb was not merely a burial place. It was a gateway to eternity. Yet amid all the gold and treasure, archaeologists noticed something curious. Many objects appeared to have been prepared quickly. Some showed signs of modification. Others seemed originally intended for different individuals. This suggested that Tutankhamun's death may have been unexpected. His burial preparations may have been rushed. The boy king died young, and Egypt may not have had enough time to create an elaborate royal tomb while he was a long-reigning pharaoh. Ironically, that may be the very reason his treasure survived, because the smaller tomb was hidden beneath later construction and escaped the attention of most grave robbers. What appeared to be a disadvantage became a blessing for history. The discovery transformed Egyptology forever. For the first time, researchers could study a nearly intact royal burial from a new kingdom. Every object provided valuable information. Every artifact revealed another piece of Egypt's lost world. Yet one mystery remained unsolved. The greatest mystery of all. Who was Tutankhamun really? Beyond the gold, beyond the mask, beyond the curse. Who was the young king hidden beneath centuries of legend? And what do modern scientific investigations reveal about his life and death? For more than a century, the world has been obsessed with Tutankhamun. The gold, the treasures, the curse, the mystery. But behind all the legends was a real person. A young king who lived, struggled, and died more than 3,300 years ago. And thanks to modern science, we are finally beginning to understand who Tutankhamun really was. The truth is far more fascinating than the myths. When Tutankhamun's mummy was first examined, researchers focused mainly on the treasures surrounding him. But as technology advanced, scientists gained new tools. X-rays, CT scans, DNA analysis. For the first time, experts could study the boy king without damaging his remains. What they discovered surprised everyone. Tutankhamun was not the powerful, athletic ruler many imagined. In fact, evidence suggests he suffered from numerous health problems. His body revealed signs of genetic disorders likely caused by generations of royal intermarriage. Ancient Egyptian royalty often married within the family to preserve the royal bloodline. But these practices sometimes produce serious health consequences. Scans reveal that Tutankhamun may have had a clubfoot. Several walking canes were discovered inside his tomb. At first, archaeologists assumed they were ceremonial. Later studies suggested many may have been necessary for daily movement. The young king may have struggled to walk. This discovery completely changed the public image of Tutankhamun. Instead of a strong warrior king, he appeared to be a teenager facing significant physical challenges. Researchers also found evidence of multiple illnesses. One DNA study suggested he may have suffered from malaria. Combined with his existing health conditions, the disease could have weakened him significantly. Yet the exact cause of death remains uncertain. For decades, theories filled books and documentaries. Some believed he was murdered. Others suggested an accident. One early examination appeared to show damage to the back of his skull. This sparked rumors of assassination. Had someone killed the young king to seize power? The theory became extremely popular. But modern CT scans later challenged this idea. Many experts concluded the skull damage likely occurred during mummification or after burial. The murder theory began losing support. Then another possibility emerged: a severe leg fracture. Scans revealed a serious injury to Tutankhamun's left leg. Some researchers believe the wound became infected shortly before his death. Combined with malaria and other health problems, the injury may have proved fatal. Although this explanation remains one of the leading theories, no one can say with absolute certainty what happened. The boy king's final days remain one of history's greatest mysteries. Ironically, Tutankhamun's short and relatively unremarkable reign became immortal because of a simple twist of fate. Had grave robbers completely emptied his tomb, history might have forgotten him. His name would likely appear only in academic records. Instead, the survival of his treasures transformed him into the most famous pharaoh on earth. Millions of visitors have viewed his artifacts. Countless books have been written about him. Documentaries continue exploring his life. And the golden mask remains one of humanity's most recognizable symbols. Yet perhaps the greatest legacy of Tutankhamun is what his tomb revealed about ancient Egypt. His burial offered an unprecedented glimpse into the beliefs, artistry, and daily life of one of history's greatest civilizations. Every artifact told a story. Every object preserved a piece of the ancient world. Because of Tutankhamun, historians gained knowledge that might otherwise have been lost forever. Today, more than 100 years after Howard Carter's discovery, the fascination continues. Scientists still study the mummy. Archaeologists still investigate the Valley of the Kings. And new discoveries continue emerging from Egypt's sands. The story of Tutankhamun is far from over, because every answer seems to uncover another mystery. And perhaps that is why the boy king continues to captivate the world. Not because of the curse, not because of the gold, but because he reminds us that history is filled with secrets waiting to be discovered. If you enjoyed this journey into the life, death, and mysteries of Tutankhamun, be sure to subscribe to Mystery of the Ancients and turn on notification for more stories about lost pharaohs, hidden tombs, ancient treasures, forgotten civilizations, and the greatest mysteries buried beneath the sands of time. The deeper we explore the ancient world, the more incredible it becomes.